So this last case is right in your backyard, Dave, and I know you have a personal connection to it too. Next month, a woman named Donna Adelson is going to go on trial in Florida for first-degree murder. This is the culmination of years of criminal trials and accusations involving Donna's now deceased son-in-law. Donna's daughter, Wendy, was married to a man named Dan Markell, and they got a divorce, and they had a bitter custody dispute over their two sons. Wendy, the wife, and Dan lived in Tallahassee, which is more north in Florida. But Wendy's mom, Donna, and her other family lived farther south in Florida, down by Miami. And she really wanted to move down there with their two boys. And the husband, Dan, the boy's father, did not want that. He objected. The thing was getting more and more bitter. He had just filed a petition in the court to stop the boys from having unsupervised visits with the grandma, Donna, Wendy's mom, because he alleged that she'd been constantly disparaging him in the presence of his sons. It was never ruled upon because Dan was killed in his garage after having just pulled in his car before it could ever be heard. And within a day or two, Wendy Adelson moved from Tallahassee down to Miami with her boys near her mother. Well, it didn't take police long to figure out who had conducted the murders. They decided somebody had seen a Prius on the property. They started pulling up security cam and, gas station cams and so on during that day to see if they could find anybody following Dan Markell's car. They did. They found a green Prius. They ran the plates. It was a rental car. They traced it back to the two people who actually were in the garage committing the murder, Luis Rivera and another man named Sigfredo Garcia. Now, unfortunately for the Adelsons, one of those men, Sigfredo Garcia, had been married to a woman named Kate. And Kate was also involved with Wendy Adelson's brother, Charlie. So in other words, the two shooters had a direct connection to Wendy Adelson, or at least her brother. So now the police managed to put those two shooters in jail. One copped a deal and got a better sentence than the other. The one who copped the deal got second-degree murder, and he'll be out at some point. The one who didn't cop the deal got first-degree murder, away for life. He turned in the ex-wife of the main shooter, Kate, and she at first said, I had nothing to do with it, Well, she went to jail for first-degree murder. They didn't believe it. They said, Kate, you clearly hired these two guys. They're both saying you hired them. So now she goes to jail forever. But eventually Kate says, I did it because Charlie, the brother of Wendy Adelson, hired me. This is Charlie. Charlie really, really, really loved his sister. Loved his sister so much, he really wanted her down in Tallahassee. And so he said, hey, Kate, my girlfriend / employee, could you get your dirtbag ex-husband, who's a gang member, to kill Wendy's ex-husband? And that's exactly what she did. And he paid her a bunch of money. And then she paid the two shooters a bunch of money. And now Charlie is in prison for the rest of his life. Eventually, prosecutors, they went through the two shooters, boom, convictions. They went to Kate, who arranged it, boom, conviction for life. Kate rolled on Charlie, the brother of Wendy, the ones getting the divorce, and boom, Charlie gets put away for life. And that leads us to Donna. So how do we get to Donna, Dave Aronberg, the grandmother of those two little boys, the mother of Wendy? And by the way, what about Wendy? Thoughts on all of this? Because Donna is the one going on trial next month.
She's in a lot of trouble. Megyn, this is a case near and dear to me because I was friends with Dan Markell, who is the victim in this case. And no one deserves his fate, but Dan Markell is a Harvard graduate who could have made a lot of money in the legal field, but instead he wanted to teach, and he went to Florida State University in Tallahassee to teach. And Wendy did not like it there. She wanted to move back to South Florida. It was a rift in their marriage. He was traveling one day to New York to give a speech, and he found that when he came home that she had taken half of all the furniture and the kids and left. And then the mother, Donna Adelson, was pressuring Wendy to do things to leave, to go to South Florida, to perhaps, I'm not making this up, the mother, Donna, wanted Wendy to dress their kids in Nazi uniforms because Danny was a devout Orthodox Jew, and she wanted the kids to be dressed in Nazi uniforms or to say that they're going to convert to Christianity as a way to convince Danny to let them go to South Florida, or else this was what was going to happen. They even tried to bribe him. They tried to bribe him for $1 million to let the kids go. And when none of that stuff worked, the family, in coordination with these killers, killed him, and it was just awful. And so, yes, Charlie's in prison. Donna's next. Donna made some incriminating phone calls with Charlie. There's some recorded messages that look bad for her, but nothing looks worse for her than the fact that she tried to flee. Talk about conscience of guilt. She got one-way plane tickets. I mean, at least buy the round-trip tickets, right? She got one-way plane tickets to Vietnam, a country with no extradition treaty with the United States. And why did she go? Why did she do that? Because on a recorded phone call with Charlie, she said, I'm either going to kill myself or I'm going to go to a non-extraditable country. Well, she did the latter. She's in prison now awaiting trial. But there's other things. She apparently gave Charlie the money the night of the murder. She came over and handed him money in an envelope, and the money was moldy. Why was the money moldy? Because according to Kate Magbanawa, Charlie's girlfriend, the money was washed. This was Donna Adelson, amateur criminal, trying to launder the money by literally washing it. And that's why it was moldy. And then there are other things, like she's on recording. There was this thing called the bump. The bump was this undercover officer who went up to her on the street and made her think that he was related to one of the killers, and he was asking Donna for money. And she responded in a way that was very complicit. That was something that you would never do unless you were guilty yourself. She didn't go to the police. She didn't say, what? I had nothing to do with it. She called the guy afterwards on the phone number and tried to talk to him, and then at the end said, I'll call you back. Like, okay, that's not how an innocent person acts.
Yeah, but we always say, if you've ever committed a crime and someone comes up to you and tries to talk to you about the crime, the only proper response is, that is not a thing. No, I did not do the thing that you say I did. Like there is no world in which you should be entertaining the blackmail attempt against you or revisiting your crime. I mean, this is criminality 101, people. We have a bit of that, the bump. Yeah, go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, well, she tried to say things like that, but then quickly it was like when she was on the phone with him, that broke down, and she was like, well, okay, I'll call you back. No, not once did she call the police. If that happened to you, right, Megyn, and someone said you'd call the cops, or you'd take the note that the undercover cop gave you and throw it in the trash. She kept the note, she kept the number, she followed up with him, and she tried to negotiate with him, and she's going to get...
Because what happened was those two shooters went to jail, and they hadn't yet gotten turned on to Charlie. Mm-hmm. But at that point, this FBI agent comes to her like, hey, I'm connected with one of those shooters and he needs to be taken care of. Like, I understand you might be giving some payouts to keep people quiet, because her family hadn't gone down yet. And approached her as if like, there's a chance he's going to turn on your son or somebody else unless you do something about this. So they got to her before she realized her own neck was on the chopping block. And she still thought she was in control. Here is a bit of that, the bump, FBI sting moment in SOT 14.
Excuse me, Mrs. Adelson? How you doing? Just want to give you this. Listen. I'm scared. No, don't be scared. Listen, I just want to let you know that we know that your family has been taking care of Katie and her friend Viva for quite some time after your problem up north has been resolved. And I want to let you know that my brother, he's incarcerated. He helped your family with this problem you guys had up north. And we want to make sure that he's going through some rough times. We want to make sure that you take care of what he's going through, the way you're taking care of Katie and Tuzo. Well, this will explain it. Thank you.
I just want to say that my hidden body camera in my Baby Lisa special was much more effectively operated than that FBI. I'm sorry, but you've got to point the breasts directly at the subject.
It's government, Megyn. It's why the cameras were turned off in Jeffrey Epstein's cell, right?
It's very simple. I don't know why he didn't nail that. But in any event, she sounds guilty. And Viva, before I give it to you, here's one more. After Charlie was convicted, okay, so like she messed up how she handled the bump. Then her son Charlie did get indicted, convicted after just 3 hours of deliberation. The jury wasn't even tempted to find him not guilty from the sound of it. She called him in prison. She was very upset that he had gotten, I mean, this is what happens when you ask your son to commit a murder. He could go to jail for the rest of his life. Those are the allegations against her. She denies them. And Charlie hung up, but she didn't hang up. You know how like sometimes you talk to an elderly person on the phone and they never hang up and you have to hang up? Well, she didn't hang up. And the Jailhouse recording kept going. And that's how we know she thought she might kill herself or go off to Vietnam. Listen to SOT 12 and SOT 13 in succession. Am I suicidal now?
And not see my son? I do. Perfectly honest, I do. And we're going to do it together. We're going to do it together. Leave a note. They'll know when to come and get us. And we'll do it together. The boy, look, going to make a decision at some point. So after speaking to Dan this morning and knowing what they're thinking up there, I don't know if we'll make it out in time. I really don't.
I've been looking it up over and over. Could things change if there is extradition from Vietnam? Because we've looked at all the places. I mean, I could go to Korea and China, but there's no extradition.
She doesn't want to go to Korea. Yeah, she wants to go to Vietnam. And that video we were just showing was of her being arrested at the airport via law and crime when they nabbed her. The feds had been listening. They heard that jailhouse conversation, and she did not get on board the flight to Vietnam, all of which is admissible against her, Viva.
Look, I wasn't paying attention to this case. It's so patently stupid. Like Robert Barnes and I on our Sunday show, we always talk about the fact that you can be dumb and you can be a criminal, but you can't be a dumb criminal. How anybody thinks you get away with this in this day and age. By the way, just for the police, you know, not for nothing, a GoPro costs $400. One of these little things, you get high quality HD. But I feel that it would be comical if this were a movie, but it's real life and someone's dead. This is Fargo level, stupid level criminality. And I don't know what kind of person thinks you deal with life's problems like this. My question about the old lady is whether or not she had a history of mental illness or anything else in her life that would indicate she would resort to murder for hire to solve a family dispute. But may they all rot in jail and burn in hell because, I presume the case is tight, that there's evidence of payment, coordination.
I don't know if the case is tight. I think she did it. Dave, Donna. I think Wendy did it too. I think the ex-wife is totally involved. She's completely denied it. And she's also, Wendy, been given some limited government immunity to testify in a couple of these trials. So you tell me, because the case, I'm not sure if the case against the grandma is anywhere near as open and shut as the one against Charlie, the son, was. And I also have real questions about Wendy. Why isn't she getting charged? And does that limited immunity they've given her to testify at a couple of these trials extend so far to, like, she could not be charged? If Donna gets convicted, could Wendy also find herself up next?
I think that if and when, I do think it's a when Donna is convicted, then Wendy is likely to be charged next. Now, I'm friends with the prosecutor up there, Jack Campbell. He has not given me any inside information, but you can see where he's been going on this. The state attorney up there has taken the strategy of going one at a time. First, they went after the hitman. Then they went after the conduit, the girlfriend, Catherine Magbanua. They had to try her twice. The first time was a hung jury, 11-1. And they finally got her on the second time. Unbelievable that one juror held out, but now she's in prison for life, just like the killer is in prison for life. And then they went to Charlie and they got him, and now he's in prison for life. Now they're going to Donna. She could be in prison for life. And the reason why they're going one by one, in part because it's a smallish prosecutor office, and I don't think they necessarily have the bandwidth to try them all at the same time, but also they got evidence on each one after they prosecuted the other. So, for example, had they prosecuted Donna at the same time as Charlie, they wouldn't have had those audio recordings. They wouldn't have had evidence of her fleeing to Vietnam. So that helps. And so I think they are being meticulous each time. And I don't think this case ends after this case unless Donna is acquitted, and she's not going to be acquitted.
Since President Trump was sworn in, his administration has made enormous progress at a breakneck pace. But don't forget, while they're moving mountains for the good of the nation, you've got your own personal savings to worry about. And one of the best ways to look after your savings is through diversification, particularly with gold, like from Birch Gold Group. In the past 12 months, the value of gold has increased by 40%. OMG. Central banks continue to bolster demand for gold by buying in record quantities. Global instability and tension is high, and Birch Gold makes owning physical gold extremely easy. Easily convert an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA in physical gold, or buy some to store in your home safe. Just text MK to the number 989898, and Birch Gold will send you a free info kit on gold. There's no obligation, just useful information. With an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau and tens of thousands of happy customers, take control of your savings today. Text MK to the number 989898. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.